Shooter ready? Stand by. Go! Go. Go.
Welcome back to another episode of Slide Bite. I know it's been a while, but trust me, the long wait is hopefully going to pay off here. This has been something that I've been wanting to take a look at for a while now, but I just didn't know how to go about it. And so I gave it a little more time, and I think I'm confident enough to give you my review. So today we're going to be taking a look at the MP5A5 by VFC. This is the version 2, I guess, variant of their original gas blowback MP5 series. And you know what? This thing is fantastic. Well, mostly. We'll get into that later, but before I go ranting about the MP5, I'd like to give a huge thank you, as always, to Airsoft Extreme. They've always been nice enough to let me, I guess, burn down their field, essentially, doing dumb shit and that sort of stuff, to get cool footage to, I guess, pad out the runtime for this video. They've been very nice to me. Staff, they've been great, and you know what? I've always had a pretty good time with them. If you want to take a look at them, I'll leave a link in the description down below. That sort of fun stuff. And another group I'd like to give a huge thank you to, but I rarely visit nowadays, is a Heavy Recoil Club. Basically a giant circle jerk of of airsofters who do nothing but gas blowback stuff. And you know what? They're an awesome group of guys and girls, I guess, who just do nothing but gas blowback stuff, teching, parts, that sort of thing. Awesome group of people. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below to their Discord server. Plugs out of the way. What is this thing like? What is the enigma around this thing? And why am I posting this now of all times? Great question. I'll answer some of them. I've been wanting one of these for a while now. Not maybe this particular example, I've just wanted a MP5 gas blowback. Now I know that WeTech makes some, and I know that VFC makes some, but I keep hearing mixed responses about which one is best. And you know what? Having experience with just this one, I can say that the VFC one is... Man, this thing is just fantastic. I keep saying that, but let's go ahead and dive into this. So, like always, we're going to take it to the table. We're going to take this thing apart and show its guts and all that. And what if they changed from the V1 to the V2? Because it seems like they realized some mistakes and corrected them to an extent. So with that babble out of the way, let's go ahead and head to the table. Alright, so we have our VFC MP5A5 out on my supposed table, and there's really not much to say in terms of what I notice about the gun. It's a MP5. We've seen countless copies of these, mainly AEGs, so we know the general layout of these. The iconic paddle here to let go of the mag. The mag is a 30 round, so it actually holds 30 rounds plus gas. So this is a V2 one, and there's a lot of things regarding differences between V1 and V2. We'll go over the differences between both versions after we do the field strip and while we're putting it together. So first things you'll notice, well, it's a MP5A5, so it's got that 3-round burst mechanism. What you'll notice is that when you go onto full auto, it actually does not line up. So, kind of points off, but that's really nitpicking. You can always repaint that sometime in the future. What you'll notice is that I actually put a mount here. Out of the box, this does not come with any mount or anything like that. It just comes with straight diopter sights, and that's it. There's no rails or stuff like that. out of the box, you just have a polymer handguard and wire stock, which is actually pretty nice. If you push down on from this side, you can pull out like so. This is a polymer lined or powder coated wire stock, so it is actually pretty comfortable for a cheek weld. We'll go more into that at the performance handling part. So to put it back in, you just simply push it inwards. There is a weird quirk about this where if you actually pull it out, you'll notice that there's a bit of wobble. You'll actually notice, I'll go into more detail about this in handling. So this gun is pretty durable, so I can slap it like so. One thing I will say right now, this is a very solid gun. It is mostly polymer with a stamped steel like upper receiver. It's just very, very solid. It doesn't feel like flimsy plastic at all. It feels like an actual gun. Right, so aside from that, let's go ahead and just pull the entire thing apart. So the first thing you will do is pull the back plate off. So you just push up on this pin. Pin is non-captive, so be sure not to lose this. This is the largest pin. All the pins that we're going to take apart are going to be pretty easy to distinguish with, or tell apart, essentially. So I'm going to just take this rear one out, pull like so. It's got a hard rubber buffer there because the bolt does slam into the back of this quite often. It's like all steel though, but it's pretty cool. They got a buffer there for recoil. From there you pull out the bolt. This is the V2 bolt. We'll go into more detail about this near the end when we're putting this back together. You can see though firsthand that it's got little rollers there. The rollers don't actually move. It's more of like a little like attention to detail type thing. Same with the wire. It's just, it's really cool. You never see most airsoft companies like imitate this, especially because AUGs and all that. This is the cool thing about gas blowbacks. You never get to see stuff like this where they try to imitate the bolt in a AUG. This is just more of my thing of why I like gas blowbacks more than anything. Right, so from here, you will just have to simply move this down. You can take this out, but it's going to be a little bit more time fidgeting trying to put it back in. Yeah, but yes, this does break open essentially like an AR, except you don't really need to pull the bolt out like so, like on a old AR. This is more for when you're putting the bolt in sort of thing. So for the sake of brevity, we're going to leave this in because last take I tried to put this back on. It took me like 5 minutes. Right, so aside from that, we can also go a little bit further. This is where we actually show you the hop-up. The hop-up on this thing is toolless to an extent. I'd recommend moving it with a pair of pliers or something. So to remove this, it's really simple. Again, it's just a simple push pin. I just got to pull. Come on, there we go. This is, I believe, the smallest pin out of them all, so you don't have to worry about that. You just simply lift off like so. And you can definitely get aftermarket parts for this, so you can definitely get like rail interface systems, the 80s style cheesy flashlight underneath type thing, or God forbid Geisley, or anything else that isn't Picatinny. Digging at all of you guys with other modular systems. But yeah, so here is where your hop-up would be. Can't really see it in the light, I guess. There we go. Right here, this little tooth thing, this is your hop-up. So you can twist it like so. That is how you change the hop-up for adjusting BBs or that sort of thing. It's very, very cool. You never see toolless that much in Airsoft, and I like to see more of this happening. And it's in a very convenient location. It just simply one pin pull off and just pull off the entire thing, and you can easily adjust it, like so. Right, so that is your field stripped MP5A5. It is very simple. This is pretty much what you'll expect from all VFC SMGs, or most of them at least, is just pull this off, take the bolt out and start cleaning. Very, very simple. The charging handle is captive. I do not know how to take this out yet. I'm pretty sure when I detail strip this, I'll figure it out. So, as I'm putting this back together, let's go ahead and discuss the differences from the V1 from the V2. For starters, is actually mainly the bolt. So, the bolt is actually the main reason for the change. What I'm assuming happened is they realized that on the V1, this part is actually separate, or two pieces, and it slides back and forth like the real thing, like a real roller delayed blowback. What I'm assuming what happened is that this part was actually fragile because it was two pieces. More parts equals higher chance of breakage, so they swapped it into a one solid piece. Increases the lifespan, but it takes away from the authenticity. So V1s are more nowadays for shelf collecting. V2s are more for actual practical usage. So for those of you who are wondering what's the difference between a V1 and a V2, there's your difference right here. This is all a matter of collecting. I personally would use a V2 because I use gas blowbacks on a very daily basis. Right, so with the burst fire, how is it like? Well, we'll talk about that later. This is pretty much the only main difference from a V1 and a V2 is mainly that bolt system. If you want more authenticity, get a V1. If you want to use this more for practicality, get a V2. It's very, very simple. And I'm pretty sure this is pretty much it on the VFC type of guns. Come on, there we go. They are very easy to field strip, take apart, and that's pretty much it. This is very straightforward when it comes to taking apart, despite my clumsiness. It's honestly quite a delight to own and take care of, honestly, if you want to use this as your main gun. So, technical stuff aside, we're going to head over to handling and performance and talk about what it was like to take this gun and put it through its paces. So I'll see you guys there. Alright, so now that we're back from the table and we've basically tore this thing apart and put it back together, let's go ahead and talk about how this thing handles. And for starters, we got to talk about that slap. Now, you can see I got the charging handle pulled back here. We're just going to go ahead and put in a magazine here with a little bit of BBs. And let's go ahead and give this thing a slap. Ooh. Man, that has got to be one of the most iconic things that you can do, especially in the firearms world. And nothing brings that feeling more than a gas blowback with an actual working charging handle. Just it's so much fun to do. Just putting in a mag and then slapping it and then going back into action. It's iconic. Every single video game and I guess action movie or shit like that, they always do the famous HK slap. And you know what? It's satisfying as hell, especially on a gas blowback like this. Not like an AEG, not like that, not like the AEG version of this, that Desert Fox review where he was just kind of slapping this repeatedly. This one actually, you can feel the weight of the bolt slamming forward when you do that slap, and it's just so freaking satisfying. But moving on from that slap, how does the rest of the gun handle? How does it feel in your hands? Well, first off, it feels very comfortable. Now, bear in mind I have small hands, so something like this feels perfect. It's not overbearing like a G3, it's not like a 416, 417, SCAR, or M16. This is an SMG in its like purest form. It's very compact, relatively. Not as compact as an MP7, but it's still compact. So what it means is that you can run around with this thing. It doesn't get in the way that much. And because this one has the collapsible stock, you can basically just offhand shoot it like this. And if you want to shoulder it, it's very fast. You can see how fast I deployed this thing. That said, you can see me slamming this on the table. It is kind of sticky going back in, especially with this collapsible stock. So I, of course, have to table slam it like the AK guys. But you know what? This thing can handle it. It's, as we went over in the table, it's a very solid construction, and it feels solid too. This doesn't feel like your plastic wonder MP5 from some, you know, like third-party AEG company that doesn't have the license. This does feel really solid, and I can like essentially just swing and hit someone with this and keep firing. That's just how solid this feels, and it feels so comfortable to hold. Enough rambling about the solidness of the gun. In terms of overall handling, the charging handle also serves as a thumb stop, especially for right-handed shooters. And if you're holding it like so, it does stop your thumb, and because this is non-reciprocating, you don't have to worry about it coming in and cutting up your thumb or crushing your hand like like a scar. And because the way I'm holding the gun, you can actually see that it doesn't get in the way of my reflex sight here. So that's so if you're trying to put a mount on here, you don't have to worry about your thumb getting in the way. So because of the gun being a gas blowback, there's also another interesting benefit to handling of the gun, which is the pistol grip is a lot smaller. Now this is a good thing for small-handed shooters, essentially like me, because it means that we can wrap our hand around. Typically on EEGs, the gearbox is in the pistol grip, and as such they have to make it a little bit wider to accommodate it. Not here. Because the gas system is like right here, like the real thing, you don't have to widen this to make any extra space for it, and as such you can wrap your hands around it quite easily. Not to the extent where I can just switch to the safety with my thumb. I have to reach a little bit to get there, but overall no real complaints. Something I'll just have to get used to. Charging, or the fire selector, it's very stiff, very crisp, and I'm guessing this is just because it's a new gun. I'll probably do a status update on this thing a year later, but overall it's very crisp. It clicks into place, there's no give, no play whatsoever, not like the MP7, and it's just overall, the gun handles fantastic in your hands. It feels great. So for those of you who are wondering if they should get an MP5, maybe not this one, but maybe like the Umarex, definitely get one of these. These are really cool in terms of like how they handle, except for the mag release thing, that's more of a pet peeve. So now that we've talked about handling, let's go ahead and quickly go over performance, because this video is getting really freaking long. So let's start off with accuracy, and accuracy wise, this is not bad. It's like a 9-inch barrel, I guess. I'm not sure how long the inner barrel is, but you can definitely get a decent amount of accuracy out of this. This isn't pistol length barrel, it's slightly longer than that. So it's definitely inviting you to do like close range, close to mid-range, not CQB per se, but it's definitely a really good mid-range workhorse. Will you be able to pull off long-range shots? Possibly. If you have this thing overhopped, I'd imagine you can hit some pretty long shots. But as it stands, accuracy-wise, it's okay. I guess MOA is probably as large as my ring light at around, I don't know, 100 feet, which I guess is like yay big. So it's okay. It's about, I don't know, large, softer size torso. But yeah, the mid-range wise, it's almost like a laser when you shoot this thing. Bear in mind that this is still a untested gun in terms of my own personal experience. I've only taken it to a couple games, so I'll definitely put more information when I do a 1-year update on this thing. In terms of gas efficiency and gas performance, this gun was chronoing at about 350, 360 with .25s, which is kind of the allowable weight BBs around here. It's definitely pretty efficient too. What I noticed is that this gun's magazine or system, whatever it does, you can fully charge this mag and you can do 3 full BB reloads. So what I mean is that you can run out of ammo 3 times before having to refill this thing. it's just, it really does last a long time in terms of gas efficiency, which is really nice. The only downside is it really feels like a drag every time you empty this thing, and you click, you just hear that click, and you're like, crap, I'm out of ammo. So if you're only getting like 1 or 2 of these mags, bring a speed loader with you. Because it's a double stack magazine, it is very easy to feed BBs into this thing. That's pretty much it in performance. My final thoughts on this gun is that it's fantastic. Shelf collector, maybe. Like field gun, oh, I feel like it's got potential, definitely. The downside though is cost. This gun is pretty expensive. I don't know the exact ballpark range because, you know, the place that I got it was Red Wolf, and prices for this thing jump all over the place. Depending on where you get it from, you can't get it here in the States. You're going to have to get these from Asia, so the shipping cost is going to murder you. And, well, not you, but your wallet. So, just something to bear in mind with this. But in the end, do I recommend this particular MP5? Yes, definitely yes. If you have the money, of course, and you're willing to wait a couple months, especially at the time of this video, because these guns are fresh from the factory, and they're just being released as we speak. And people are buying these up in droves. So bear in mind, the demand for these things are there. And I can see why. It's definitely a great gun to just have fun with, and it puts a smile on your face just holding it and then doing the iconic slap. So with that is pretty much the end of this review. I know this has been a pretty long video. Thanks for sticking around this far. All I can ask is like, comment, subscribe, every other YouTube thing. 100 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a maid outfit, like review, or something like that. Something with a Type 89. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have my own personal Discord server. I'll link that in the description down below, that sort of thing. But with that all the way, just thank you for hanging around this long.